Prop concedes that factory farming is modern, efficient, and capable of producing cheap food. Efficiently producing cheap food for those who are currently in need and cannot afford more expensive products constitutes as ethical. He concedes there may be more jobs available through the use of factory farming. The study that involved 121,342 people on March 12, 2012, stated that eating red meat was associated with increased risks of death, cancer, and cardiovascular disease. The study's conclusion stated that substitution of other healthy protein sources for red meat is associated with lower mortality risk, including fish and poultry. He goes on to say meat in general is associated with these chronic diseases, which is a misleading and abusive use of information. I'm lucky to have discovered this, as his sources were not made easily available to me like mine were to him, which I'll touch upon later. Also, attacking just red meat or just processed meat and then blanketing those statements to include all meat displays the reckless abandon Prop displays in distorting the truth. Prop says I only care about fellow man and not the animals. Man is an animal, so this is paradoxically false. The moral duties I spoke about apply to all animals, not just humans, as Prop falsely assumed. I emphasize fellow man because the ethics that we're talking about seek to resolve questions dealing mainly with human morality. Plus, syntactically speaking, none of the other species can identify with these sentiments or comprehend them. They are, however, still included in the ethical standards we establish as members of the shared space of reality. While animals may have emotion and natural instinctive state of mind deriving from circumstances, mood, or relationship with others, this doesn't mean we should completely refrain from eating meat. There are millions of people that would, without meat, starve to death. Their emotions are concretely established as existent, whereas the emotions of animals have been noted to possibly exist, but it's still up for debate. Behaviorists claim stimulus response models provide a sufficient explanation for animal behaviors that have been described as emotional, and other behaviorists further question whether animals feel emotions on the grounds that emotions aren't universal even among humans. Interpretations of animal behavior are anthropomorphic, and definitions of emotions lack robustness. Prop states population of wildlife species has drastically gone down during the past 40 years. This establishes no facts. The population decrease could be because we are cultivating once natural pastures or taking food sources away in another way. Prop briefly spoke about my use of Wikipedia. Wikipedia is increasingly used by people in the academic community. It's easily accessible as a tertiary source for information about anything and everything. Vandalism on the site is usually repaired extremely quickly, so quickly that most users will never see its effects. As with all sources of information, one must use discretion and judgment in doing research, which I have clearly done. Prop is using the notion that Wiki is solely falsely revised and edited material, when much of it is credible information that has been validated many times over by qualified, up-to-date experts and other reliable sources of information available to the public. Whereas I provided links to my citations, Prop has not. At this point, it's too late for him to do so. I must stress, by leaving out citations and only stating his sources in passing, Prop has both limited my arguments and doctored the information I have available. My opponent hurts his own credibility by not including sources, and further digs himself into the ground when he tries to question the accuracy of mine. At the very least, he can see and click my sources. I don't have that luxury, and yet he has still effectively failed in proving that abstaining from meat has any connection to ethics. He defined ethical as the best interests of nature and animals. I neither needed to prove his definition incorrect or unclear. I simply stated that his definition of a part of the resolution was not in accord with the claims he was making. He has spoken about health concerns, but offers no correlation between maintenance of personal health and maintenance of ethics. In fact, there is no such connection. Prop has stated that eating meat can lead to various health issues. How does this pertain to ethical concerns? It doesn't. If this debate were about meat production, his argument could work, but his argument that unhealthy eating is bad for humans, which are a type of animal, is flawed. Humans do what is in their individual best interest, so saying it is unethical for a person to eat meat on the basis that they are ruining their own health is absurd. There is no connection between many of the facets of the Prop's argument and the notion that eating meat is unethical. There's no connection between many of his claims in the resolution. In closing, for that reason alone, the reason being that the Prop failed to explain any connection between much of his argument and the resolution's claims about ethicality, you should vote for the opposition. Thank you.